Today's show is entitled Coffee Can and the Green Jesus Box. Today's date is March 1st, 2016. Coffee can is one thing and the green box is another thing, but I decided that they needed to be lumped in together for the show, and you'll see why. So sometimes I come to the show here, come to that, and I'm really not aware of what I'm going to do the show on, believe it or not. It's I kind of wing it and just follow my gut instinct. Sometimes I generally do know what I'm going to be discussing, and I have all my notes, but hopefully we'll do a prayer and pizza show. We've got the pizza.
Mm-hmm. I'm planning on doing it on
Okay.
Galatians 3, chapter 3.
Okay,
And we'll have Kevin Friday.
good. Excellent.
Yeah.
Okay.
Praise the Lord.
Yeah. So I have files, and one of the files is called Prayer and Pizza. Pam and I work on that together, obviously. Mostly Pam's job to get that right. And then this is PX. That means Jesus Christ, Jesus the Christ. In, I think that's Greek lettering. That was the first symbol for Jesus way back. I think it was around 300 AD.
It reminds me of the fish. I think that came from the Jewish people.
Uh-huh.
A fish, I think, with a cross through it or something.
Oh, just a little fish symbol. I see that on cars all the time.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, I
cool.
like that.
It's
Yeah, I like that.
beautiful. It's beautiful.
Maybe we can get one of those for
our car.
our car. I like to call it your car, but you know it's our car.
Yeah, right.
But I still think of it as your car. I love
Okay.
it. It's beautiful.
It is. It's beautiful.
And we got a bumper sticker today when
Yeah,
we voted.
for the firemen.
Maybe we should put that on there.
I
Maybe.
think we should.
And support our local Hyannis Fire Department.
Yeah.
They're a good bunch.
Yeah.
Very busy folks there.
Did you vote today?
Yeah, did you vote? Who voted? Who voted today?
We voted.
We
Both
voted.
of us.
And I thought it would be no big deal. I told you earlier, okay, you were independent, which is also called unenrolled.
Mm-hmm.
And then you mind if I say what
Yeah,
we did?
I'm switching to Republican.
Yeah, and I've been a
I have to do
Republican
my paperwork.
since 1995, but I thought that was like an automatic switch, real quick and easy, but no, that's not true.
No, it's not.
I voted for Donald Trump,
I voted for Donald Trump.
and so anyway, there it goes. So we're off to the races here in Massachusetts. As a little sideline, I bet most people in Massachusetts did not know this, but Nantucket and Martha's Vineyard were, and the Elizabeth chain I think was in there too, were a part of New York back in 1692. And then it was in 1693 that there was a deal done, and there was a document called the Don Gall document, where Nantucket and the Vineyard and I think some other islands were restructured. And I think I mentioned Fisher's Island was part of Connecticut, but of course it's part of New York. It was part of Connecticut, and then they did a little trade. Anyway, coffee can and the green Jesus box. Now, a coffee can is this here. And what I did was bought a cheap thing of coffee. You didn't like it, did you?
No.
I liked it. I thought it was great. I thought it was just as good. So let's say if you're doing a fundraiser, you can take a coffee can like this and take the label off or leave the label on. It doesn't matter. And then you got yourself a coffee can. And you would have a charity. You'd bring your coffee can to the fundraiser. It will be a multiple. This is something I've worked on in the past. I've got a number of draw-ups or writings about this. So let's just say people show up and they want to go see a little interview or a show or something of maybe some kids, maybe a variety of things. Maybe some kids will perform. Maybe some people will do some readings. Maybe some people will be talking about the environment. It might last for 5 hours, you know. People might be scheduled for various different things. So there you have it. There's the coffee can. It's a fundraising tool. It's a fundraising tool. You can come and you can put a quarter in there. Now, what's that for? Coffee can and the green Jesus box. Well, that, I don't know, that might be for the show, just to carry the infrastructure of the show. So I just contributed the first 25 cents. All right? Now, the green Jesus box here, I've been just troubled by something. Oh, it just bothers me. It really does. That we seem to have two movements that are not really on the same page when we should be on the same page. See, I'm both a Christian and an environmentalist, and sometimes they're like oil and water. And I really don't understand why that has to be and why that is there. And here's the little earth, and that might symbolize the environmental movement or, you know, Earth Day.
It's a stress ball.
It's a stress ball. So it doesn't get much easier. A green box, throw it in there. Whoops. You're not going to hurt the stress ball. So that's it. We got this at the Goodwill, right? The other day? Mm-hmm. I was looking at that, and I said, oh, let's get this for the set. And then I said, you know, I could do a show or something like that. And so I was thinking about that. Mm-hmm. So that would be the mission, my mission, or dare I say, my ministry would be to get us more or less together on where the movements stand together and apart. Let's say using statistical analysis, Christians and the Green Movement, they might have, or we might have common ground here or there, and we might need to work some things out to be a little bit more organized. Because they're basically both good movements, the environmental movement and, of course, the Christian movement goes back a ways. How far back?
I don't know.
Well, it goes back to when Jesus was born, I guess, right? So that's an old movement. And anyway, so that I wanted to get going. Now, I think anyone, like, it's kind of like prayer and pizza. Anyone could do a coffee can fundraiser. Let's say if you could get a hall and you could get a few people to chip in, and you might be able to get a camera from the studio here. Pam and I could probably get a camera because we did the course. So we could probably do some filming on the show, or if it were not a show, that'd be fine too. So that's a proposal. I'm proposing to do fundraising, and that we should do fundraising. It's kind of a loose-knit organization. Let's say it would be generic. You know, it would be like a generic type of a fundraising situation where people come together in the community, all different sorts of people, and there are different things going on at different times. There might be the Girl Scouts and the Boy Scouts. There might be a different church, or this church and that church, or whatever 501c3, an environmental organization, or somebody with an article in the town meeting might be coming forward to speak to different people, and they might present a paper in 10 minutes, let's say, on an article, and then have question and answers on an article, something new perhaps.
Excuse me, before we get too far ahead, back on that subject about when Christian, if you think back, like even Noah, and I think Noah had a relationship with the Lord, I think Abraham had a relationship with the Lord, but thinking back to that,
I stand corrected, don't I? Yeah.
That was before Christ was born, but What's important for the people to know is to have a relationship. That's where it's going to get calmer. That's where you're going to be able to move forward, because we can't do this on our own. And when you have a relationship, it makes things different. It's quite different. But you're supposed to have a relationship with Jesus, and Jesus is alive.
Absolutely. Thank you. Now, I do stand corrected, because the prophecies in the Old Testament were foretelling of
About the
the
future.
arrival of the Messiah.
Yeah.
Okay. So I do stand corrected. Thank you. As usual. So now, what are some other charities that might be interested in your community? Let's say the firemen would show up. I had a project in here the other day about the clipboard. That little yellow ruler that I've been using, I lost that somewhere. But I designed a clipboard that would be built here on Cape Cod, and it would have one of these little Smokey the Bear rulers in the back. Like I put a little ruler in the back of my clipboard
that was
here,
really nice.
and it's gone. I don't know where it went. It's maybe in the back of the car.
It does.
But nothing else really works. You can't keep a wooden. I mean, you could, but it really works just fine for me. And I've been doing a lot of scale drawings. That means 1/4 inch equals 1 foot. That's what I've been doing quite a bit of. So anyway, that's a small project, and now I was thinking that project for public safety, fire, police, government services, etc. That could be, you could have 3 different clipboards: fire, police, and then the other town services, and you could keep those on a wall, and they could be Cape Cod clipboards. You know, the whole country might end up doing it if the kids got selling them, and the kids could make them, put them together. I believe in using a clipboard.
Yeah, it's very helpful for me too. I like a clipboard. I find it very helpful to put down, you know, like what you've been maybe putting off, procrastinating on, you know, whether it be a call to your doctor or something for an answer to something.
Yeah.
It's just very helpful. And to put the date, and I like to put what day we're on too, is helpful for me.
Yeah, if I don't write something down and I lose it, and if I'm thinking of something and I think it's important and then I lose it because I didn't write it down, I think that bugs me a little bit. It happens every day, but it still bugs me, you know. So if I'm diligent, I have my paper in my back pocket right here.
That's good.
You know, that's why once in a while, if we're out and about, I've got that, and then I can put that on the clipboard later.
That's good.
Yeah. So I do recommend that as a way of life.
too.
If you're an idea person, let's say, to use the clipboard method and categorize things. Did I bring up?
definitely need it for prayer and pizza. That's a definite. But I like I said, I like it for like that. Like an example, if you need an answer from your doctor, you know. But for prayer and pizza, I like to definitely. I need the clipboard, and
Yeah.
I definitely need it for the other too.
Yeah. Well, here's the prayer and pizza file, you know, and that's that. And this is something new, but it's pretty big already. It's the PX Christian file. And then I have another file. It's kind of big, and this is part of that. It's called FUN. And I had fun and I had fundraising, but I found that they were dovetailing so much that I just ended up combining the 2 files. Fundraising I'm very interested in, although I don't really have much of a life fundraising. A little bit with Bay Bridge. You know, we've done some fundraisers. On Nantucket I did a little bit too. But I think
That's good.
when I was a little boy, when I went to Holy Trinity School, they'd have us out selling these candy bars on a regular basis to raise money for the school. and or some other church event or mission, what have you. So, have you done fundraising?
Yeah, I did it one time. I was kind of like squirrely with it. I didn't feel that comfortable with it. Then I became more comfortable with it, like after I was out of it or something. But we were planning on going to, like, I don't know where we're going, somewhere on a mission trip. And we put out pies, I think, and a little can to see if people would give us money, which I think they did. And I don't know, it was all right. Like I said, I was really squirrely. She was much more confident in what she was doing. I just was having difficulty with it. I was like, I don't know, should I be doing this?
I think, you can correct me on this, but I think it's really good for the kids to be into going around in their neighborhoods, but you don't see that anymore. You know, I'd be knocking on doors as a little boy, and I'd range quite a bit as a little boy, especially, I know you don't like this holiday, but on Halloween.
I hate Halloween.
You hate Halloween. Okay, but when I was a little boy, that was big. It was like a mission and a job, basically. Anyway, but we used to just go door to door, and of course, I never mentioned my paper route on the show, did I? Yeah, maybe I did. I had a paper route, and we used to go snow shoveling, and also I used to sell, well, right now, it comes to mind, pussy willows. I had people that wanted them. And then if it was the right time of year, the bittersweet or the herring roe or this blackberries. And we had a stand out in front of the house too where we'd sell things.
Well, that's a good thing to do, a good thing on Halloween. It's just, you know, I know how bad Halloween is, but to do good things is good. Like Kevin, who you've heard from on Prayer and Pizza, he really shocked me. I guess I heard it later in my life, but right then, and I think he was like 9 or 10, and he took his trick-or-treat bags and gave it to the hospital. He went in the hospital and gave it out in the hospital.
Yeah.
That shows a little kid's heart, which is really nice.
Yeah. Yep, that is nice.
It says something about him, even that young.
Yeah. I was a little mischievous. I think Kevin was too, when you're real little. But you know, I think both Kevin and I, you know, we grew up. You know, you're supposed to grow up, and if you don't, it's a problem.
Most boys are mischievous.
A little bit. You know, you don't want to make a big deal out of it. I don't think I was a bad kid. Like, for instance, I did pick some flowers on occasion. And I hate to admit this, but sell them back to the person I just picked them out of their bag.
Oh,
yeah,
boy.
I think I did that once or twice. Got away with it. But I think maybe I didn't get away with it, you know, because they know what's going on. You get a reputation if you're 8 or 9 years old. Oh, God. But anyway, picking flowers, selling them, daffodils mostly, I guess. All right. That's my story, and I'm not sticking to it. I might revise that story. No, I don't think that happened too often. Wasn't a regular thing, Your Honor. Let's see. What else can we talk about here? How does it impress you, the green Jesus box? This is the box, and we bought it at the
Goodwill.
Goodwill, and I said, I'm going to get this. I want to get it. You said, okay. Okay. I got your permission. And it was $1. So there's the environmental movement. It was in the green Jesus box. I think that's my point. I think Jesus would be into a lot of different things. I think Jesus was, in his time, a real mover and a shaker. I do believe he was.
Well, when you think of him when he overturned the tables, that certainly was something.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what that was all about, but we did go through that.
I think it was people were doing exorbitant prices and stuff, and I think they were selling doves or something, and it really triggered him off, and he turned over the tables and said, "You will not," I think he said, "You will not make my father's house a house of merchandise."
Yeah.
He was angry.
Yeah. He was laying down the law. So I think he had quite an education when he was a little boy about the law, and I think he was being a stickler, and he was holding some people to the law. You know, I believe that's probably where it was at, but I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I also have this file for theology. That's that. You can look at that anytime. Okay. All kinds of projects in there. Or thoughts, or what have you. So I could be invited to speak for 10 minutes on why I thought Barnstable needed a Hyannis fire department building. I could probably go to bat for that building. It seems to me every time it comes up, I go and I vote for it. The next time it comes up, I'm going to go and vote for it. I think it's what?
Yeah.
When was that? April
good.
something? I'm not sure. I think it was April. I'm not sure. But I will go and I'll size up the situation, and most likely I'll vote for the proposal on the table, which I thought they had reasonable proposal, number one. Number two, reasonable, and it keeps getting shot down. So anyway, I used to be a firefighter on Nantucket, so maybe that's why. You know, they're cooped up in that, and they're the busiest fire department on the Cape, and that's an understatement. I hate to think of Barnstable as a city, but that's what they say it is. I don't think so, but that's what they say.
I don't think so.
It's a technical addition deal. When there are so many people in a town, it becomes a city. I forget what that is, 100,000 maybe? I'm not sure.
But that's a great thing involved, being a firefighter. There's no doubt about that. That's very commendable.
Well, I think I wasted a lot of my time doing it. But on the other hand, I think it gave me some insights when I design a firefighting blimp, or I design some other emergency services, this or that. I think it had an impact. I didn't save anyone's life that I know of, but at least Nantucket Fire Department was a little bit more ready, in that you don't have the amount of men you do on the Cape. You're on an island, so you need to have a lot of men on an island, you know, if you have a fire department. So that's why I joined. I was asked to join, and I did.
That's nice.
And I was young and strong. I was on the ladder company. But that would be something whereby, you know, they may not need the money. They may be doing it on their own. But I'm sure there's a charity with the Hyannis Fire Department, and with all these fire departments have their, let's say, an association that does good work, does God's work, if you will. I would say that. And as I said to you the other day, I can look an atheist square in the eye. Remember I was saying that? I can say, you're doing God's work, you know. And they may say, oh, shucks, or well, you know, whatever. And I may say, and I thank you for that. So the Jesus thing doesn't have to necessarily be a point of controversy, because you can be a Christian and you can thank an atheist for doing God's work. If you think that's what they're doing, you can say, come on, come to church if you like, and bring a $5 bill with you. And that won't hurt either, because we got some nice coffee afterwards. How do you feel about that? You push Christianity heavily. You are an evangelizer, big time. Now, I grew up Catholic, and that's a compliment. You're a big time, and your brother, when you two get together, oh, it's like, melts me down, shakes me.
Christian means Christ-like.
Yeah. Yep. So, I mean, the charities could range from shellfishing charity. Let's say I might be interested in that. Or some kind of Cape Cod forestry, or gardening, community gardens. There are so many charities. And of course, our own Bay Bridge. You know, we could show up at Bay Bridge to one of these coffee can fundraisers. So you could draw a line between the coffee can and, let's say, and the green Jesus box is another thing. They could be combined because, you know, I could speak about the green Jesus box, and that would be a show. The green Jesus box would be a program whereby you get a few people together and discuss political, environmental issues, social issues, sustainability issues, especially. Sustainability is a broad umbrella. Mm-hmm. And I think going back 2,000 years, they were all about it. And I think there's a lot of people that are all about it now. They're into it.
A lot of people, I think, are getting very curious about Christians and which Christian means Christ-like. And, you know, I think a lot of people, when they think about their, like, pleases and thank yous, are kind of triggered into, you know, they need to know more about Jesus.
Well, as a kid, I was brought up with it, and I don't think it hurt me. I think it helped me quite a bit, going to Catholic school. I think it helped me tremendously. I know it did. And there's a lot of Christian schools on the Cape.
Trinity.
Yeah. And our Pastor Eric has a lot to do with that. And then there's Pope John Paul School down there next to the St. Francis Xavier down in Hyannis. That's a big school. Well, I've always said I believe in democracy in the classroom, too, whereby if the kids and the teacher would each represent one vote and they wanted to get together and do something on a cultural level, which would include having prayers once in a while. You can call that cultural. You don't have to call it religious. You could just say, okay, we're going to vote on cultural issues, and we're going to have 10 minutes a day. 10 minutes a day, what is that? We used to have religion for 40 minutes a day in my Catholic school,
well,
taught by the nuns.
Christians, I forget what it was called, Christian Services maybe it was called, and I think you were familiar with this when I told you, but I don't know if I went more than once, but I think I did. And you'd get out of school to go to religious services. And I went to the Protestants and the Catholics went to the Catholics. I think that's basically how it went. That's how it was set up anyway.
Okay, we got 2 minutes. That's good. We can wind down. Coffee can. I think we explained the coffee can fundraiser. All you got to do is get a location, invite everybody, and
maybe Stop and Shop or something.
Well, maybe, but they're not a charity. But maybe their union would want to show up. Their union's going to be on strike.
To use their, you know, section. I'm just saying, outside of the Stop and Shop could.
I see what you mean. Yeah, absolutely. I didn't get that.
Well, I think you'd have to have the permission, but that's
of course
no
you
big
would.
deal.
Yeah, this would be a broad community participation type deal. I think this coffee can fundraiser would really bring a lot of people together. So I think we can wrap it up.
Yep.
All right. Thank you very much, folks.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching the Scannell Agenda.